This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Thursday, November 10th, 2022. We're so glad you can join us today. In today's episode of Ag Matters PM, before the election, I had the chance to talk with Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson about some of the issues she's seeing in her area and how she hopes to fix those in the future. We also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, it's the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, and for a bit of analysis, we go to Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. First off, Kaden, what have we seen going on in the grain markets today?
Yeah, if you're looking at just the grain markets, a lot of red. We had CPI data this morning kind of going over inflation, and it came in a little bit cooler than expected, which, the grand scheme of things for the economy, maybe not such a bad thing. If you're looking at the stock market, it's definitely not a bad thing. But as far as grains were concerned, they sold off pretty hard afterwards. Kind of surprising how much inflation hedge was still in prices, but a lot of that came out today.
Right. Another thing we've been watching is that corn export demand is still not quite there, and we're anticipating seeing some USDA adjustments soon. We thought we might see it in yesterday's WASDE, but it looks like they'll wait for a little bit on that. How is that affecting the market prices?
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. I think export's probably a little bit heavy right now as far as WASDE is concerned, likely to come back down. We've had some sales on the morning wire the last 3 days, which, is a good sign, a little bit helpful. But I agree with you. If you don't have good, strong demand kind of in your back pocket, I guess, that you can depend on, it makes grains and especially corn and beans a little bit more susceptible to weakness like we've seen today.
Right. And are we still kind of seeing a good amount of competition from grain prices down in South America as well?
Definitely will. We're still a little bit early on their weather. People that I read down there say December is kind of the key time from there. So we're a little bit early knowing for sure, what kind of crop they're going to have. But if they're anywhere close to normal, their product is going to be cheaper than ours. And typically that's where big countries like China will shop from. So our market definitely has a very close eye on their weather and what their crop is going to produce. It is still supposed to be a third year of La Nina, which could provide a little bit of dry weather. But like I said, if they're anything close to normal, I think our market could be at risk for even more decline.
Right. And of course, speaking of the weather, we're still facing our own challenges here right now with continued drought conditions. And to be honest, we're getting rain, but we're still just not getting enough, and still dealing with issues, especially in the Mississippi River. Are we seeing maybe signs where we could see that let up soon, or, as it's kind of been the case recently, we're just going to have to deal with it for a while?
Yeah, I think as far as the river goes, it's not been a quick fix, and probably will not be a quick fix, an overnight thing. But I do think it's improving. Kind of seems like water levels improving a little bit there. Freight prices gone down a little bit, so I think it's improving. Like I said, not going to be something that happens tomorrow or the next day, but I think we're on the right track there as far as the river goes now. As far as, a larger scale drought, that still remains to be seen. And hopefully we're in a better shape come next spring than we are right now. But definitely a little bit of risk there, but I feel good about the way that the river is trending.
All right. And what are we seeing on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex?
Yeah, both cattle markets really look pretty good today. Feeders more so than live. Feeders had a good breakout above what we've seen trading in the last week or so, up around close to 182 on January. So I'd like to see that move continue to confirm above 184 to feel really good about it. But it looks good. And live cattle too, the 20-day moving average is holding support today after we've kind of come down after our highs. So, like to see that continue to hold and go retest contract highs around 154 on the December contract.
Now, are these prices largely reacting to the adjustments to grain prices, or do they have some independent factors that are supporting them inside the market?
I think a little bit weakness in the grain market plays a part. I also think, if inflation is indeed coming down, I think that bodes well for the economy as a general from a macro perspective. And a lot of times you kind of see these livestock markets influenced a bit from the larger macro picture. And so I think you're seeing that play a part as well.
All right, Kaden, lots of great information today for those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net. How can they do that?
Yeah, go to our website, just agmarket.net. We'd be happy to kind of get your marketing plan put together. It's a little bit easier now that we know what crop we have, what your yields were. So kind of get to work on our break evens and where we need to go moving forward. And if you want to reach me directly, my line is 815-691-2672.
All right, Kaden, it's been great talking with you today, and we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Take it easy.
That again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers closed. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn is down 11 1/4 at 653 1/4. November soybeans down 29 1/4 at 1430 1/2. January soybean meal down 11.90 at 440. Soybean oil up 45 at 73.63. Chicago wheat down 3 even at 803 1/2. Minneapolis spring wheat down 6 3/4 at 931 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 4 3/4 at 925 1/4. And December oats down 2 1/4 at 378 1/4. On the Merc, December live cattle up 150 at 153.07. November feeders up 90 at 178.62. December lean hogs down 40 at 84.87. Pork cutout up 22 at 95.67. And November Class 3 milk down 4 cents at 20.96. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Well, last week and before the midterm elections were underway, I had the chance to talk with Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson about some of the issues she's seen in her area and how she hopes to fix them in the future, as she had recently wrapped up her 8th 20-county tour. We are here with Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson today just to talk a little bit. It's been a while since we've caught up, honestly. So first off, we've seen recently that you've been doing another one of your 20-county tours. Tell me a little bit about what you were hearing from everybody and kind of what they want to see in the current political scene.
Yeah, so thank you for having me, Riley. It's a pleasure to be with you as always. I think it's really important to get out in the district and hear directly from the people I represent, and I've tried to do that through my first term. So to fulfill that pledge, I just finished my 8th 20-county tour, so hundreds of stops in the district, and I can tell you the feedback I'm getting from Iowans continues to be the same. It's inflation is too high, whether it's at the grocery store or at the gas pump. People are paying too much for things, and they realize that is a direct result of overspending in Washington, D.C. I continue to hear from Iowans about the challenges that they're facing in paying utility bills, for example, because things are so tight. People are commuting long distances, so they're picking up extra shifts at work to be able to cover those costs. So that pain is very real, and people definitely connect the dots there to the Democrat control in Washington, D.C. and what that's done to their lives and livelihoods. So I've visited businesses, I've visited small family farms, co-ops. I've been out on the road with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Nagg last week. We visited a bison ranch, which was my first time doing that. Fascinating experience. But we are truly going where people are, hearing directly from them. And I can tell you that people are telling us they're ready for some accountability in Washington.
And this is one of those things that it doesn't matter if you are rural or urban. These gas prices and food prices and everything else affect everybody. And we know that in the ag industry, we're in the position to alleviate those prices for everybody else. So if we can provide aid to the farmers, eliminate the cost for them, that'll trickle down to the consumer. And then we'll see those prices for everything else go down as well.
Absolutely. And that's why when I visit places like Poet and see what the ethanol facilities are doing to help lower that cost, producing more ethanol, that those family farms that are growing corn to go to that, making sure that consumers can have that option. I think this administration has deliberately looked away from the opportunity that Iowa biofuels bring to the table here. We should be embracing the all of the above energy strategy to help not only give consumers options at the pump, but truly lower those prices. We stand ready to produce more. That was a question that I continually ask all of our producers. Can we keep up with that demand if we need more? And they all said, yes, Ashley, we can. So I think it's really crucial we look to them. This administration doesn't have an offshore drilling plan, a leasing plan. The previous administration under President Trump, we had more than 10 leases offered. I'm calling on the administration to get serious about this policy because at this point, this is a national security issue for our country. The strategic reserve is at its lowest in 40 years. We're seeing that shortage affect the diesel industry as well, which obviously our farmers go through a lot of diesel during harvest. So not only are those costs well over $5 a gallon, but now there's concern about the scarcity of it too. So I'm calling on the administration to reverse course on their disastrous energy policies. But I think the best way we can send a clear message is to fire the Democrats in Washington, D.C., fire Nancy Pelosi, and put in some people who will actually listen to what Iowans have to bring to the table.
Right, and we've talked many times before about this, about how, and you just mentioned it as well, we have biofuels at the ready. I mean, we're ready to go on all this, and it seemed like for a little bit, maybe towards the beginning of this election cycle this current administration, that we could see some support on that front. They were kind of giving the word that maybe we'd see some support there. It didn't really turn out, and it's a little bit frustrating to see that. And like you mentioned, we've got elections coming up that we could see, possibly some changes come there. And what would we need to see for energy policy to change and kind of, bring biofuels out to the front like we would want them to?
Well, I think energy independence is a huge part of what Republicans will do if we take back the House. It's in our commitment to America that we work to embrace in all of the above energy strategies so we can become energy independent again. The Biofuels Caucus in Congress is a bipartisan caucus, so I'm hopeful that we are able to continue to have support for the biofuels industry. I've partnered with, for instance, Sherry Bustos across the river and across the aisle on the Next Gen Fuels Act, making sure we're focusing on supporting our lock and dam system and making developments and investments there so that our products can come and go. I mean, there are a lot of things that all work together in concert to help support our agriculture industry and make sure we can continue to feed and fuel the world. And so I'm hopeful that no matter who is in control, we're able to kind of find some common ground there. But I think when Republicans are in control, you'll see a better farm bill that will help support our agriculture community without a bunch of Green New Deal priorities in it. You'll see policy that, again, supports our biofuels industry and looks at liquid fuel options going forward so that consumers have those choices, not the government telling them they need to go buy an electric vehicle that they can't charge.
Right, and we know that all of these things when it comes to agriculture and biofuel policy, like you said, it's not a partisan issue. We have bipartisan support. And, this is something that truly helps everybody, no matter what side of the aisle you might be on.
Yeah, and I think honestly, fixing energy price surging like we're seeing right now, that's the quickest way to slow down inflation. Everything we get as consumers comes in on a truck or on a rail car or something that consumes energy, right? And so if we can lower that cost for not only all of us driving our cars, but every truck that's driving on the road to deliver those products, we'll start to see prices come down because those inflationary transportation costs won't be there. So this is, again, a direct result of intentional energy policies by this administration. We need to reverse course on it. And the fastest way to do that is to make sure Iowa agriculture has a seat at that table with our biofuels industry.
All right. Is there anything else that you've been hearing in your district that we should go over today?
No, I mean, you talk about fuel. I did a couple of gas station town halls within the last few weeks where I'm literally going up and talking to people at the gas pump. And I mean, those stories are real, right? There are people who are commuting. I had one woman who lives on the southwest side of Cedar Rapids, is dropping one kid off at Linn-Mar schools, then driving another to daycare. She works in the Mercy Emergency Department. She's going to go pick up extra shifts because of that increased cost to her. So, I mean, that's just one example that I continue to hear from Iowans about. They're tired of it and they want to see some changes. And so I think this is an accountability election. I think it's about what is on the ballot. The Biden-Pelosi agenda has taken our country in the wrong direction, and we can't afford another 2 years like that. It'll be devastating to our energy industry. It'll be devastating to Iowa's agriculture industry if Democrats are able to insert a whole lot of Green New Deal priorities and empower the EPA even more than they already have.
And that does remind me, since we last talked, you provided some relief funding, some derecho relief funding for Cedar Rapids. As you know, they're still dealing with some of the issues from that, which really shows, honestly, how catastrophic that derecho was. And again, you know, that was really kind of brushed under the rug pretty quickly. But it was one of those issues where it had impacts on things that maybe a lot of people didn't think about, especially in agriculture. It came to our crops and everything. So, you know, to see funding to still come in is a great thing.
Right. And, you know, talk about storage, too. I know that was one of the biggest implications that people had to deal with coming out of that derecho. It was the strongest and most costly thunderstorm in U.S. history. And I think most people don't realize that. I've tried my best to make sure that everybody hears it from me ad nauseum in Washington, D.C. So I'm proud to have supported the bills that provided the funding to go help communities recover from these natural disasters. If there's one thing that's sure, we can't control Mother Nature, but we can control how prepared we are for it and also what we do to make sure we help our communities recover. So we've also worked in the state to add to the WIP Plus funding derecho as an example so that can be included in that definition in code as well. So we're doing everything we can to make sure we're helping our farmers, helping our communities to be able to continue to recover from natural disasters. But I mean, yes, it's millions and millions of dollars that our cities and counties incurred in the cleanup process, and recovery is still continuing today.
Right, and it's just another one of those things, and we've kind of seen it with some recent USDA funding as well. It's important to provide funding to these small communities, especially because they are the backbone of agriculture in Iowa and really of agriculture across the country. So if you don't support these small communities and these farmers, you know, you're not going to get much from it.
Right. And that's what we need to continue to enable our farmers to feed and fuel the world and do what they do best. I was just on the Gibbs family farm this week, and they're doing some amazing, innovative things with technology, with bioreactors, letting nature do a lot of that work. So farmers are controlling their input costs, obviously, because they're on the rise, and many farmers have seen a dramatic increase in that. So I think we need to let farmers farm and try to get the government out of the way as much as possible. And that's, again, the message that I continue to hear as I travel through the district.
All right, Congresswoman. Well, it's been great talking with you today and great to catch up after a little while. For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and maybe just see what it is you're doing across the state, how can they do that?
Well, I think the best way is to probably subscribe to our newsletter. We have an official newsletter. Our official website is just hinson.house.gov. So check that out if you'd like more information about what we're doing on the official side in our 20 counties that we currently represent. And our campaign is ashleyhinson.com. So obviously that'll all be over on Tuesday for this round. So I picked up 6 new counties in the new congressional district. So hopeful that I'll represent Iowa's 2nd congressional district moving forward.
That again was Iowa 1st District Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. As for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, this morning it was 65 degrees, believe it or not, and we are already down into the upper 40s as we get to the afternoon here, and it looks like it'll cool down even a little bit more after that, and we're looking at some pretty chilly temperatures overnight as well. And we are also looking at a wetter weather signal coming through, so a bit of rain, something that we'd really like to see as we still deal with these drought issues. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, it's going to get quite chilly tonight. Today we have rain likely across much of the state with a warm start to the day as temps drop throughout the day, highs ranging from the upper 50s to upper 70s. Tonight we have clearing skies and showers to the east. It'll be cold and windy with wind chills in possibly the single digits. Lows overnight ranging from the upper teens to about 30. And tomorrow it'll be partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies with scattered showers moving off to the east, and it'll be colder and breezy, highs ranging from the upper 20s to the mid 30s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map, as you can see for tomorrow, Cherokee will be partly cloudy with a high of 27, Shenandoah sunny and 33, Des Moines clear and 33, Waterloo mostly sunny and 33 as well, Albia sunny and 35, and Clinton could see some of those showers, but mostly cloudy skies with a high of 33. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find all of our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.